with Ryan Dungey, and I guess there's quite a few questions, but one I want to start with is when. Like, when did you start talking to them, or did they start talking to you? Like, when did this start kind of, were you mulling? Because I know there was past times that you were like, oh, maybe, because I was feeling really good, and this time you like pulled the trigger. So when was that?
For sure, coming back racing is a challenge I've wanted for a while now. I would say the discussions on this came about middle of Supercross. Outdoors is something you got to be really prepared for, so just trying to be ahead of things. We were initially doing testing. I was helping the team with some testing and to get outdoor prep ready for the riders. And then that's when the discussions probably, I would have to say, started, or I should say I came to them with the idea. And from there, it just kind of materialized. And wasn't too long after that, we were able to put together a deal. So outdoors, it took a couple, 2-3 months of prep. So it's, it came up on us pretty quick. So you just got to be prepared. So we wanted to get ahead of it before it got here.
So what particularly, I mean, you said you came to them. I mean, was it something about this bike? Was it something about your physical condition? Was it something about, like, maybe the emotional part, like missing racing? Like, what was it that it was like, hey, I want to, because, I mean, it's a lot of work to get back in there.
It's a combination of things. I guess firstly, riding the bike, I got a chance to ride it last September, and this new model on the outdoors just loved it. It was a great bike, the feeling, they nailed it. So that was one piece. Wanting the challenge, I think that was another piece as well. Something that this is a challenge, like being able to step away and being able to come back and compete at this high level. That was another challenge, and make sure I have the speed. The true test will be going when we go racing, of course. And then the other piece is, it was doable because, one, I have the flexibility, but also I didn't have to uproot my family. We're in Minnesota, so it would have been tough to, gather everybody up, get a place down in Florida, get down there. We have 2 kids now, so that's another piece that made this doable. I was able to do it from home and back in Minnesota. Got good tracks up there, all my training, and so it all really kind of fell into place. But just more, I'm excited. I always enjoyed racing, and I know that it's definitely not going to last forever, but at the same time, it's something I wanted to take on and a challenge I wanted to pursue.
So maybe that could be somewhat of a difference of maybe, rookie or in the middle of your career, that you're kind of have to follow what the team needs and what you're trying to, but it's like almost you coming back on your own terms, like, hey, I'm going to stay here, I got kids.
Yep.
And then, so maybe talk a little bit about how that gives you a different mindset going into this season.
Well, yeah, it's where I'm at in my life is a lot different where I was at 5 years ago. Me and Lindsay, we have 2 kids now, and so, first when I started pursuing this, it was like, oh man, I think I was going at it from the mindset of where I was then, but having 2 kids now and being able to do my work and come home and see them and do all that and be able to have the balance, the flexibility, the time with them. The biggest thing is I wanted to maintain a balance in my life. And for my family as well, and I can do that, and so that's something I never wanted to be. Guys, I'm taking off every 2 weeks out of every month and just not seeing them, so that's not the case. But it's almost more exciting now because we get to do it together as a family, and although they're not always going to be able to go every single race, it's very much a good program. So yeah.
I also think it's kind of interesting. I mean, there's some other professional sports like cycling where age it's not so much the young teenagers that are coming out and setting the world on fire. It's actually more experience, and you can kind of have an older prime.
Yep.
So do you notice, I mean, it's almost seeing you, I mean, Cairoli is retired, but he's out here again.
Yeah.
Seeley's gonna do MCR. It's kind of like almost this year, we see a lot of these guys come back. I mean, you see that as something that the sport is maybe getting a little older.
Getting what?
A little older, like the racers getting a little.
Yeah, I think maybe 5-10 years ago, outside of McGrath doing he did the Supercross only. I think a lot more guys are getting creative. In America, back-to-back seasons, motocross, supercross, motocross, it stacks up on you. And when you're doing that year after year, you know, there gets to a point that you just need a break, and mentally, physically, however long that break is, you don't know. I didn't know. I just know I needed a break at the time. And I think you see a lot more guys now trying to get more creative to get the longevity. You know, where in my situation too, you know, I have to rely on my experience as well as the foundation that I've built, you know, from the past, both physically and what I learned going through, you know, previous years, but also not to underestimate a lot of these guys as well. So yeah, there's a lot older riders trying to get more longevity, and it's a tricky balance because you want to have fun, but at the same time, it's just this job it's a lot of work. It's hard work. It wears you down, but if you try to have too much fun, then you kind of lose your edge. If you try to be too serious, then you kind of, you know, start burning that candle quicker than normal. But it's just everybody's different, and each guy's got to find out what makes them tick and what works for them. It's you know, one program doesn't fit all. So
coming back and riding the bike again, what is the biggest difference than when the last time that you rode? I mean, is it the bike, or
when I raced?
Yeah.
From when I raced?
Yeah, when you're, I mean, obviously you've been riding, but yeah, the last time that you raced, what is the biggest difference with, like, is it the bike, is it the training, is it
it's a little bit of everything. I mean, the bikes evolve, they get better, which is awesome as a rider when you jump on these things. That's a big piece. So I, you know, the bike is one aspect of it, but also just mentally in a better state, physically rested. You know, I don't want to talk in the past, but like back in 2017, it's like mentally I was cooked, physically I was tired. It just, you know, it takes a long time to get out of that. And so I think for me, just being in a better state of mind, and you know, when you're out there on the track, enjoying what you're doing, you know, I think you have to be in it. Your head's got to be in it, and just, you know, focusing on yourself and doing your program.